Chapter 36, we're at Preston Pans. And we're in Scotland, September 1745. Aw, silly. That's okay. I think I have the live replays up. I'll double check after this live, but I'm pretty sure they're up to watch. Someone with the names Saint-Germain. Well, hello. You're in the right place. But I think that they're up for replay if you're interested in watching those after you read. So Claire and Jamie have left Lollybrock at this point, and they are marching with the 30 men that they are bringing from Lollybrock to meet Prince Charles's army. And Claire knows that there's a battle that's going to take place just a few days from now where they are, and that is the Battle of Preston Pans. So she tells Jamie all that she knows about it, but she doesn't really know a whole lot. But one thing she knows and is sure of is that the Scots win. I was watching one as I tried to get in. I was getting my book talk fix. Aw, yay. Thank you, silly. You're so sweet. So Jamie keeps asking her, tell me it over again. Tell me all you know. And she's like, that's kind of it, is that there's going to be this battle and you guys win. That's that's the extent of my knowledge. So Claire and Jamie, because Jamie is their chief, right? The men. Oh my gosh, there they are. It's Saint-Germain. Yay! I love that so much. I don't know. Are you familiar with Outlander at all? I'm curious if you're familiar with Outlander. Absolutely. Oh, yay! That's so funny. Well, we just read about Saint-Germain. Forgive my accent. I'm not French. But yeah, we just read all about him in the book. If you're new here, welcome. My name's Katie and I run an Outlander book club. We're currently about 60% of the way through the second book. But you know, you can always catch up with us. There's people in here that are way ahead of us, people that are way behind. So read at your own speed. We read about 50 pages a week. And if you want to join us, we'd love to have you. There's a link in my bio that'll take you to the Fable group. And it's a really fun community here, and we have a lot of fun reading these. We're going to read the Lord John Grey series too, so we are in it for the long haul. Chapter 30, yay! So because Jamie is their chief, he is given like a private little tent, right? So him and Claire can kind of have some privacy, some alone time. And I think it's Myrta that tells him, you know, they don't want to... Hi, Anel. Yeah. But I think it's Myrta that's like, you know, they don't want to be reminded of what they don't have right now. Hi, Kate. So anyway, so Jamie's hungry and he wants something to eat, and Claire gives him some fruit. She gives him an apple and some cheese. And it's funny because we don't see this. Yeah, we know what their privacy and alone time is. It's funny because we don't get this part until season 7, right? I'm pretty sure that's when it is season 7. Hi, name twin. Anyway, she laughs at him because she knows that Highlanders have this fear of fresh fruit, but she makes him eat it anyway to keep away scurvy. So, yes, these season 7, thank you. So, you know, she goes back to reach for some bread, and someone comes out and tackles Jamie, and they start fighting, and of course it's dark, so she can't see. It's late here, so I'm hoping to catch you live soon. Yay! Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so glad you found us. Yay! Come back. I'm here every Thursday. It's night my time. It's really nighttime where you are. So, but thanks for joining us. So this person and Jamie are fighting, and eventually Jamie comes out with this boy, right? He's captured this boy. He's got his arm in a lock. So we find out that he's 16, and they learn from his accent that he's English. But the boy is not giving up any information, right? He's, do whatever you want to me, but I'm not going to tell you anything. This next part is different from the show, because if we remember in the show, Claire was the one that started like looking like she was a hostage, but Jamie actually does this to Claire, like without her consent. He grabs her and he actually rips her dress and exposes her. And keep in mind, like, all of his clansmen are around him, so they're all seeing her. And so Jamie's like, well, you may not speak up for your life, but what about hers? Like, you know, or for her reputation or her honor. And so Claire obviously is fuming. I would be fuming as well. I think I like the book version better, especially with her reaction. Yeah, I think it's, I think they were both good. I wonder if that, they just didn't want to go that route with exposing her. Like, I don't know, but it was interesting that they made that change from it being Jamie's decision to Claire's. So to protect Claire, this boy ends up telling them the information they want to know, and he tells them that there is an army camp nearby. So he was out walking the forest, and he saw their fire that Claire and Jamie had, and then he heard Claire's voice, and he wanted to come rescue her from Jamie because he had recognized Jamie's face from the broadsheets that are plastered all over. They find out his name is William Gray. He is the second son of Viscount Melton. Lord John Bay all day. If you know, you know. So Jamie is set on unaliving this boy, but Claire ends up saving him, which I think is kind of ironic later, right? So they take him away, and as he leaves, the boy turns and tells Jamie, you know, I owe you my life. I don't want to, and I hope to, you know, dispose of this debt that I owe you in the future. And when I do, I'm going to unalive you. And so Jamie tells him, you know, well, I hope we don't meet again. And he tells him a Gray does not forget an obligation. So if you haven't seen the series, if this is just your first dive in, I'm so excited for you to find out more. I know, I owe you my life. So afterwards, after this, and they take, we'll call him William now in case people don't know, I guess. I think most everybody in here does. But after they take him away, Jamie tells Claire to go back to the tent. Does she? No, because she does not do what her husband tells her to do. So Jamie wants to find out who was on guard that night. How did he get through? How did he get in here? And so two men that are brothers end up coming forward, and Jamie delivers a punishment to them. But he tells them in that same breath, you know, after they're punished, which is a lashing, he tells them that they cannot afford carelessness, but that includes himself, because he was the one that had the fire going, so he's just as much to blame for the boy getting through. So he asked Myrta to deliver his punishment, and Myrta is like, give it to me, like, I'm ready. And at this point, Claire can't watch, right? So she turns and she leaves, but she doesn't go back to the tent. And I almost think she did that to, like, spite Jamie. Like, I'm not going to go back to the tent because you told me to, kind of thing. Hang on just a second. Sorry. So Jamie finds her and I'm going to adjust sorry. Let me adjust just a minute. Sorry about my random box back here, YouTube watchers. So Jamie finds her and he apologizes for making her do that, for doing that to her. I'm actually going to change. I'm so sorry. Let me shift a little bit here. Because this YouTube live is like the side of my face. Okay. I think that's a little bit better. Maybe not. I don't know, you guys. I still need to figure out a good setup for this. I don't like that either. And it's really dark in here. I feel so bad if anyone's watching this on YT. Like, what is she doing? Okay. We'll just leave it like that. It is what it is. I don't know. Okay. He tells her that he actually didn't break the boy's arm. The boy broke it himself trying to get out of the lock that Jamie had him in. And he tells her, you know, at the end of the day, like, I really wasn't going to unalive him, right? He wanted to help him save what pride he had left from, you know, rescuing, quote unquote, Claire. So that night, Jamie uses the information that they had gotten, and he sneaks into the English camp, and they end up stealing, which this is the exact same from the show, they end up stealing the cotter pins and the wheels off of the cannons. So the cannons aren't really going to do the English much good at this point. So they march on because they have to leave before the soldiers wake up. So they leave and they end up in this village to meet up with more of the army that is led by Lord George Murray. And he is so relieved to see Jamie. He is just absolutely at his wit's end with how everything is going. It seems like this army does not know where it's going, where it's supposed to be, and he is just very stressed out about it. My mom says Carter pin, plain as day. I giggle every time. Did I say it wrong? Cotter? Isn't it cotter pin? Did I say it wrong? Did I say it right? I don't know. So Jamie ends up going off with Lord George, and Claire writes to Jenny Cameron, and we haven't met her yet. Oh, yeah, I said it right. Thank you, silly. She writes to Jenny Cameron, and we haven't met her yet, but Jenny Cameron is a beast. What is it about Jenny's? They're just beasts. Jenny Cameron had taken 300 of her men, her clansmen, across mountains to join this Jacobite army, which was not like a woman to do, right? The fact that you could get one man to follow you, let alone 300 men. And her brother had like rushed over there to claim, you know, I'm the chieftain, blah, 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 blah. You can go home now because you're a woman. But she didn't. She stayed. She wanted to stay. So Jennies are just awesome. So Claire writes Jenny this letter. And no, it wasn't in the show. We don't have a Jenny Cameron in the show. So Claire writes Jenny this letter, and Jenny comes to meet with Claire. And it turns out Claire has this idea to set up like a field hospital. And she's having Jenny help her because she knows what all Jenny has accomplished. And the men will listen to Jenny, right? They're not going to listen to Claire. Mostly because she's English and they're not going to trust her. Poor little Fergus has been ordered to stay by Claire's side, and he, you know he takes that job seriously, but he's also like, oh man, like really? He wants to be where the men are, and he's really growing restless. So when someone comes, hi beautiful light, when someone comes along with information, he's all too eager to rush to Claire to try to take this man to see Jamie. And so this man tells Claire that he's lived in this particular area for a while, and the problem that they're having at the moment, the Jacobite army, is that, and this is the same in the show, they have the uphill advantage, but the English are right there, but they can't get to them because there is this like boggy land and then there's a ditch. So there's no way they can get across to get to them. So this man says that he has lived there his whole entire life, and he knows a way around it. And so Claire tells Fergus, take him to Jamie, but please be careful. And she turns around and looks down and realizes that one of her, I don't know what I can say on TikTok, but her pointy object is gone. And she starts stressing out because she's like, I told Fergus to be careful, but I didn't tell him to come back after he met with Jamie. So the battle begins, and Claire and the wives are really nervous, right? And I'm trying to find the part where I'm at in the book. They're all nervous, but Claire knows the best way to be. I don't know. I have to think of things to say because I don't want to get banned. But so they're all like, all these wives are nervous. You're not. Hi, bestie. Aw. Tell him to go to sleep. It's book club time. So yes, Claire knows, especially for herself, and the way she can help these women is to help them stay busy and keep their minds occupied so they're not just sitting there stressing about it. Surgical instrument, that's a good one. Yes, I'll have to remember that. So another difference in the show versus the book is that this is all from Claire's point of view. So since she's not at the battle, we don't get to see what happens, right? Like in the show, we see the man leading them around and them going to war, but we don't see that in the book because Claire's not there. So the women are all preparing because they know there's going to be a lot of injuries. And so, of course, as Claire had told Jamie, the Jacobites win. Well, thank you, Holly. I don't know if you're being facetious or serious, but I appreciate that. So the Jacobites have won. Hi, Grace. Hi, welcome. We're here. We've been waiting for you. Oh, you're on the Fiery Cross. Awesome. We're on Dragonfly and Amber. I know you probably don't want to reread all that, but if you want to reread with us, that would be awesome. I have a link in my bio to anyone that's new to my Fable group. And yeah, we would love to have you. I'm so excited people find me on here. I love having new friends to join us. We're like 60% of the way through Dragonfly and Amber. We just read the chapter Preston Pans. So yeah, if you want to reread with us, we'd love to have you. We don't talk about Bruno. Yeah. We'll get through book 5 together. But welcome, Grace. So yes, the Jacobites have won, and those that are injured aren't really all that concerned about it because they're just really high off the adrenaline that they just won, right? Claire notices, however, that there are bodies being taken of the people that didn't survive. So she's very in the moment and aware of what's going on in all places, right? So we also find out that, of course he did, Prince Charles, being Prince Charles, ordered that the English wounded would be taken off the field first and treated first. He says because they are his father's subjects. but so are the Highlanders that just fought and died for you, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. Claire is an absolute force to be reckoned with, and I love how she stands up and takes control. We've got some of these. There's one woman in there that's kind of just, I don't know how to explain it. You guys know, you can help me in the comments. Griping, I guess would be the right word. She's griping about the work that she has to do, and mark me. And Claire is just like, that's enough. Like, that's enough. We're here to help them. And, quit complaining. Do what you're told. It's not that hard. So Claire goes outside to get some fresh air, and she sees Fergus. And she's, at the same time, she's like, oh my God, thank you. Like, I'm so thankful. But also, like, why would you do that? Like, I'm pretty much your mother. You scared me to death. What are you doing? So she starts yelling at him, and she realizes that he's not hearing anything she's saying because he's in shock. And so he tells her, I unalive this man. And she's like, okay, well, let's go get you some food, and you need to sleep. But he's about to pass out. So she just ends up carrying him into the cottage. Poor little Fergus. I mean, Claire says in this chapter, we find out his exact age. He's only 10. He's only 10 at this point. So Claire goes back to nursing the injured, and she starts to worry about Jamie because she hasn't seen him yet. She knows that she didn't see him in the, when she went to see like those that are passed. So she knows he's not there, but he's not in here either. So where is he? Thankfully, he comes into the cottage where she is, and they lock eyes. She sees him looking for her, and when they lock eyes, they both just like breathe this, yay, silly, you're on both, I see you. They both have like this just sigh of relief that they both know that they're fine, right? Bestie, you're the best, thank you. So Claire notices, of course Jamie's like, I'm all right, I'm okay. But then she sees this horseshoe print on his shirt, and she begins to worry about his kidney because of the placement of it, right? It's on his lower back. So she gives him this cup to go to the bathroom in because she wants to see if there's blood in his urine. So Jamie just kind of holds it, and this English man is like, oh, do you need help? Like, and so Jamie turns it into a game, which this is in the show too. And he, the Englishman puts the cup on the ground, and he's like, oh, I bet you can't make it from here. And then they all start making bets if he can make it into the cup or not. So Jamie being Jamie, he's joking and he's laughing and hee-hawing. And then everyone stops because Prince Charles comes in, which that happens in the show too. And Prince Charles goes around to each injured person, and he asks them their name and where they're from, and he thanks them for their sacrifice, right? And he turns to leave, and then he notices Jamie. And one of the lords that's with him kind of whispers in his ear that Jamie has sustained injuries as well. And this is news to Claire because all she knew about was that he'd been stepped on by a horse. So she goes over and lifts his shirt, and sure enough, he has been slashed by a pointy object, a sword, in the side. But she sees it, and she's thankful because she knows it's not anything that he can't recover from, apart from like the worry of infection during that time. But she sees that Prince Charles has like this odd look on his face, and she thinks for a moment, But she sees that Prince Charles has like this odd look on his face, and she thinks for a moment, well, it's probably because he's not used to being around blood and, battles and things like that. And he's just, it's shocking for him, right, to see something like that. But she knows also that that's not true because he's been in battles before. Thank you, bestie. And she understands that he's seeing that his friend is injured. It's not just some random guy that he just met. it's his friend and someone that he's really come to know and care about. And he's realizing that his friend is injured because of an order he gave, pretty much, right? So Claire ends up going to a tent that had been put up for those that had died. And she sees that since she's been in that tent, the number of Highlanders that have passed have continued to rise. And so she knows that the number is about to go up even more, because she knows that there's one man over there in the church dying, because they kind of set it up. Claire's so smart. She set it up like a triage statement, like triage thing, right? Like, so she took care of the injured, the people that she knew could get better. She sent the ones that were dying to the church so they could have their last rites and things like that. And so she's smart. She knows what she's doing. So she knows that she had sent one of the Lollybrock men to the church because he wasn't going to make it. And that is Alex Kincaid, which he's in the show as well. And so Claire knows that Jamie has been going to the church to check on him, and Jamie he hasn't came back yet. So Claire goes to the church, and where Kincaid usually is, he's not there. So she starts freaking out, but then she goes around the church and finds them there. For sure. Yeah, I would need to be as smart as Claire if I ever went back in time, for sure. So she finds them on a hill behind the church, and Jamie is just kind of cradling Kincaid, right? And Claire can see that he's already passed. He's already gone. And she knows why Jamie brought him outside is because he didn't want his friend, to die like under a roof, right? He wanted him to die under the open sky. Which I wonder, because correct me if I'm wrong. The boar hunt that's in season 1, that's not in the book, right? I don't think that's in the book. Or is it? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it is. Maybe it is, and I'm just not remembering. Because this part reminded me of that. Of, Jamie holding him because they want to die. I think it was. I'm questioning it now. Maybe it was. Like, I'm kind of like, as I'm talking about it, I'm sort of remembering it. But again, I don't know if that was the book or the show. Okay, Grace says it was too. Okay, so yeah, I'm wrong. I'm totally fine with that. But that's what, when I was reading this part, that's what it reminded me of. Was book 1 was like 4 lifetimes ago. I'm telling you, all of my friends that have read the books, they're like, I can't separate the two. Like, I will say something and I don't remember if that happened in the book or the show. I'm getting that way, and I've read 3 books now, but I'm only on book 2 in the series. And I'm like, was that the book or the show or both? I can't remember. It is the Mandela effect. The hunt was in the book, but quite different. Okay. But yeah, I was just reading that scene. It just reminded me of how that was with, I think his name was Geordie. And he's like, did you bed my sister Dougal? He's like, I did. So it reminded me of that. But Jamie tells Claire, I did this for him because I hope someone would do that for me, right? Oh, so that was sad. But there was like a lot of, I did. There was just so many changes in this book in general, but in this chapter. And a lot of it was the extra characters that they added in, right? Like, Angus really didn't have a huge role in the books. I mean, they don't even talk about him anymore. They barely talked about him in book 1, but he was a huge character, as was Rupert, in the show. And so when we get to Preston Pans, yeah, at least he was honest. I mean, it's the least he could do. The guy's dying. When we get to Preston Pans, we know that in the show, Dougal met up with them and he was so happy that Jaime had joined and yada, 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 yada. But that didn't happen in the book. Dougal's not even in this book yet. So, I think that was a good adaptation to make, though, for the show, because we weren't as invested in characters like Kincaid, which, yes, it still happened. He was a duo with Ross, and that was sad and everything, but like we weren't as invested as we were with Rupert and Angus, I feel like. So I feel like that is why they made that change, is because we'd already met those characters, and it just made sense to bring in more characters that we would worry about instead of, 30 random Highland Lollybrock men that we really didn't know. I know. They're the best duo. They're my favorite. I love them so much. So this next part, though, is freaking hilarious. I was cracking up with Hamish Macbeth. Let me find it. Oh my gosh. Let me see. Where was it? This chapter is so long. Yup, there's that. Okay. Yes. Hamish Macbeth. So Claire tells Jaime, I need you to come with me because your friend is refusing to let me look at his injury. He's, bleeding all down his leg, but, he won't let me look at him. Their real life sons are playing. I know, I'm so excited. That's so exciting. So Jaime goes to him and he shows Jaime his injury, and the injury's not funny at all. He really is really very hurt. And Claire's kind of like peeking through to see what the injury is, and she's able to tell from there that it's not that serious, right? Like, she can fix it. He's gonna be okay. He's gonna be okay. And he's talking about, Jamie's like, oh, he looks up at Claire like he'll be okay, right? And Claire's like, yeah, I can fix it. And he's like, don't worry, you'll still have kids, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, well, that's not what I'm worried about. I already have 6 kids, but my wife would be awfully mad if something... And so, Jamie's like, just let her do it, right? Like, she's treated me for a long time, and, it'll be okay. Then he gets Claire's, like, sutures, and he's trying to, like, stick it through the needle, and, like, his hands are so big that Claire, is saying that he just looks silly, like, trying to thread this needle. And so he's like, well, I can do it. And he's like fumbling it up, right? Or you can have Claire do it. And so Claire ends up repairing the injury. And oh my God, that part was just, it was so funny. I think we needed some like comedy in that chapter, because it was just kind of a little bit of a heavier chapter. So a little bit later, because there's not like, I feel like in between there's not like a whole lot that happens. That's awesome. I love that you're from Scotland. So there's one point that we actually get Jamie's POV, and that was pretty cool. I'm trying to find it. Oh, no, I went too far. But I really liked hearing Jamie's thought process of how everything went down. Because we didn't, like I said, since this is through Claire's point of view, we didn't get to see anything that happened in the battle. So he ends up describing the battle, and we learn that he was almost discovered at one point, but, thankfully they were able to make everything work, and the Jacobites ended up winning. After all of this chaos that has gone down, they know that they need to go to sleep, but they can't go to sleep until, thank you so much, Robin. They can't go to sleep until Jamie and Claire do the Jamie and Claire thing. They do what they do, right? So that wraps up the chapter. That was a very brief synopsis, I know, but there was just a lot. There was a lot happening in this chapter, but at the same time, like, a lot of it was just, I don't know, like day-to-day things. Like, a lot of it was her talking about how she was preparing things, and I don't know, just, little things, I feel like. But it's still a great chapter, I think. But yeah, Jamie and Claire, it is leading up to the Battle of Culloden. Yeah, so this is just one tiny, right? Like one tiny little thing. So, so next week we'll do 37, 38, and 39. And I think that's like 50 some pages, 51, something like that. I know. I'm really dreading the end of this book because I know what happens and I'm just dreading it. I'm really dreading it. So, yeah. So it looks like we pick up in Holyrood in October. So it's the next month. Thank you, bestie. And so stop before you get to the fox's lair. And that's another change too, because they had already been to see Lord Lovett, in the show. So that's another, I think they're just like kind of condensed everything down to make the episodes easier, and shorter, which I understand. But they went from Lollybrock to his grandfather in the show, and that's just not what happened in the book.